Welcome back. This is the Intel. We are exploring the issue of smaller political movements and community-based movements and political parties in the context of local government elections. And we have with us Eugene Botha from the Patriotic Alliance, Mbahare Kekana from the Forum for Service Delivery, as well as Margaret Arnolds from the African Independent Congress. Margaret Arnolds, let me start this part of the conversation with you. Earlier on, you told us that you're not like Sprite and Coke, you're not effervescent with energy and then it dies down immediately. Let me say to you, the coalitions that you mentioned, and I heard you talk about Nelson Mandela Bay, Rustenburg, Malutia Pofung, eKurhuleni, and Metsimaholo. It didn't always work out the way you wanted it to work out with the ANC.
Well, you know, politics is something that is dicey anyway. You know, all of us, we are campaigning right now, and all of us say that we are going to get the vote, and all of us are saying that I know I've got the City of Johannesburg, I've got whatever. And it just doesn't work out that way until the people have spoken on the ballot. And that is exactly the same thing with coalition governments. It's a give and a take. But I think in our situation, and the only place where it was not as good was in Metsimaholo, where it had its own type of politics, and in Nelson Mandela Bay. But on the other areas, no, we were quite good with the coalitions that we had. Remember, the AIC has a understanding with the ANC that we would always be, or there was a national instruction as from 2016 that the AIC and the ANC will go into a coalition. So whatever happened, we had to stay into that coalition, whether we liked it on the region or in the province, but we had to stay with that. So that's the coalitions there.
I guess, Margaret Arnolds, if I can just stick with you for a moment, what I'm saying to you is that you're saying coalition politics is a give and take. It would seem to me that you did more of the giving than the taking. What am I talking about? Specifically, it would seem to me that the ANC didn't really meet its end of the bargain around why you went into coalitions with them. For instance, that whole issue of Matatiele. Matatiele remains a part of the Eastern Cape as we speak. It's not been reincorporated into KwaZulu-Natal. You had demands around the establishment of an agricultural college in Matatiele. I don't know how far that went. The tarring of a road somewhere there between Matatiele and Lesotho were some of your basic demands to say, listen, we will help you form a government. You can govern nicely. No one is going to trouble you in eKurhuleni or elsewhere. But in return, help us look good with our voters in being able to deliver this. I say to you now, you won't be able to report all of these things to your voters.
Well, I think I said that politics is not every day the same. And yes, we have that problem. But currently, we are discussing with the ANC on those issues, and we are speaking to them as a political party as to where they have failed us and what they have not brought to the table, which we wanted. Because remember, we had an instruction that we work with them if they do this. So the term of 2016 has now ended, and we did not get what we wanted. So coalition, with whoever we will have the coalition, that we will see after the election. And we will then see how we deal with the issue of the ANC. But yes, we did not get what we wanted in 2016 when we went into coalition with them. But from our side, we have always done the right thing.
All right, let me bring you back into the conversation, Mr. Botha. You talked about Beaufort West. What makes you believe it's within striking distance for yourselves? Because until now, we've been talking you doing well, and we've been framing it as you taking award, one or two awards here and there, award from the DA. And I must acknowledge that it was big news, particularly those awards you won in the by-elections last year. How do we go from talking awards to talking, actually, we're going to take an entirety of the municipality? What makes Beaufort West within striking distance?
Thank you. Yeah, so Beaufort West specifically is because of the team that we have on the ground there. Tersh Prince is leading that team as a mayoral candidate, and there's a team there that know the community, that have been working hard, going door to door, and engaging with the community and solving problems. And the recipe we used in Eldorado Park and in Riverlea is the recipe we're using nationwide. And I don't want to just get stuck on Beaufort West. We view it as things stand. There's not going to be one municipality where we're not going to have seats, where we're not going to be able to have a say. There's a number of municipalities that we're looking at potentially winning outright. I'm currently in Bitu, which is Plettenberg Bay, and we are very confident that we can win that outright. So it's because of what we're doing on the ground, and because of our policies, and because of how hard our teams work. Everybody is volunteering at this point in time. Everybody is giving their time, and they believe in what we're bringing to the table. And the agenda that we've put forward is an agenda that resonates with the community. And I think also a lot of people are tired of the same old, same old. It's the tried and failed, so to speak. We hear all the time, every time we're in a debate, we hear about people being disgruntled and saying they've had enough of corruption, they've had enough of inadequate governance. And we see the same thing in the Western Cape with the DA leadership, the Democratic Alliance. I think what's happened with the Democratic Alliance is they've just reached a point where they can go no further. John Steenhuisen himself says he's going backwards from 26% to 24% in these local government elections. And the reality is, if you look at the Democratic Alliance in the cold light of day, it's never going to appeal to the majority. There's debates, there's discussions all the time where people are engaged, and you can just see it's just a party that's never going to broaden beyond this 24%. And you need an opposition and government that can achieve a 45% in order to really hold the ANC to account in its governance. And we believe the Patriotic Alliance is the only viable party that can do that. It appeals to all demographics. We like to call ourselves a colourful party, and our mission is to unify South Africa. And that's what we're all about. And that's why we're confident about the story we're telling in all the communities that we're active in. We've had some high-profile DA leaders join us. We've had some high-profile ANC leaders join us. We've had some high-profile EFF leaders join us. And that is because we're a party that's all about public service. We always say politicians have two elements. There's the politics, which is what happens in council, but there's also the public service. And for us, public service comes first. We've got to serve the communities that we work in, and people can see that. It's on the ground. We're very active in our communities.
All right, let me bring in Vuyolwethu Zungula from the African Transformation Movement, who now joins this conversation. Mr. Zungula, thank you for your time. So I know we've been talking about servant leadership and serving the people. You actually in the ATM don't call each other comrades. You call each other servants. Just give me a sense of your state of readiness for this election. What is your assessment, realistic assessment of your strengths and weaknesses going to November the 1st?
Thank you for having us. What our strength as the ATM is in the fact that we have ground presence all over the country. We are contesting in all 9 provinces and all districts, with the exception of a few districts in the Western Cape, Northern Cape, and Limpopo. Otherwise, all across the country, we are contesting. Our biggest challenge, especially given the realities of COVID, is that there is a media that is not fairly reporting on the work that is being done by all political parties, particularly the ones represented in Parliament. Therefore, our biggest challenge that we are facing as a party, it is to have to contend with somewhat the regarded bigger parties who dominate the media presence and in a way influence the society as if there are only three parties in South Africa, whereas it should not be that case. It should be a case whereby all parties should be afforded ample opportunity to sell themselves so that the people make an informed choice as to who they must vote for on the 1st of November.
All right, Mr. Zungula, those were just your opening remarks. We will continue with this conversation. I do need to take a quick break. Do stay with us. That's my panel there of representatives of various political parties. We are talking outside of the big five, right? Those visuals we were seeing around service delivery that were captured by the South African Human Rights Commission in the Northwest says at some point the voters must start exercising their muscle and are there options outside of the big 4 or 5 political parties. That really is the essence of the conversation that we are having. Stay with us. You're watching the Intel here on eNCA.